Scotland, let's get back to that suggestion that limits should be put on house price rises to prevent another property bubble. The Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors wants the Bank of England to put the brakes on price inflation. They want them to limit rises to 5% a year. They also say limits should be put on borrowing and mortgage terms. Alison Hattrick from the National Association of Estate Agents in Scotland told us such proposals could in fact encourage house price inflation.
Building construction firms are very wary of where they're going. They're a very important part of the economy in the UK, and we're trying to encourage, and the government has been trying to encourage more construction, because actually the number of households has gone up. Now, if we can't improve the number of property in the UK to take this demand up, then there will be house price inflation regardless of anything else the government can do.
But could the scheme work? And should the Bank of England even be taking any action over house prices? Well, joining us now is the economist and financial advisor Jonathan Davis. What do you think?
How remarkable the question is, should the Bank of England be doing anything about house prices? It's never been doing more about house prices than now, along with the politicians in Westminster. We've got more intervention now than we've ever had with funding for lending, which reduced borrowing costs. Of course, what it did was hammered savers, retirees, in other words, the prudent. We've got help to buy, which actually is help to sell, because what it does is suck more suckers into the market to borrow vast amounts of money with practically interest-free loans for 20% of what they're borrowing from the government. I mean, talk about socialism gone mad. And no, there shouldn't be intervention in the market. The market should be let to do what it wants to do. And, you know, these chartered surveyors saying they want to limit price growth to 5%, it is funny on so many levels. For example, the Register of Scotland most recent quarterly house price statistics showed that Scottish house prices fell by 0.3% over the last year.
But everybody seems to agree. Everybody seems to agree that the market is going up, albeit slowly in some areas, but more widely it's been going up, and people think it's going to stay on that track.
Yeah, what I was going to come to was, with funding for lending and help to buy, as I say, I call it help to sell, as many of us do, actually that is already proving to be a boost to the market and to prices from an already pretty elevated level. I mean, they came down in the last few years. Prices came down in the last few years. Transaction numbers, of course, plummeted in the last few years. And what these initiatives do is boost the market, boost prices, makes it even more expensive to get into property, which is ridiculous. And, you know, you look at this 5% growth, ridiculous statement, to use that word again. If you think through what that means, I've just done a quick back of an envelope here. A £200,000 property in 25 years will be £250,000 if house prices rise 5% per annum.
Yeah, but that's
Instead, what they should do is take away intervention from the market, let the market find the prices, and then, do you know what? Transaction numbers will soar.
But perhaps what they're suggesting is that we should avoid the sort of boom and bust, and that there should be, as well as some sort of help for people to start when things are not going well, there should also be a cap to stop it overheating.
The market has risen for nigh on 30 or 40 years. Prices have risen for 30 or 40 years because of easy lending and falling interest rates for decades. We're now in a position where prices fell a bit for a few years. The market collapsed. So what you had estate agents and developers and construction companies lobbying MPs saying what we need is even higher house prices in order to get the economy strengthening. What it does is it sucks in more suckers to borrow vast amounts of money, and the people who are winning are the developers, the estate agents, the chartered surveyors, of course, and indeed those who have been in the market, those who have had houses for a decade or two. These people will sell at vast amounts of money, unearned, tax-free growth, and the next generation are the people who are landed with the vast debt.
Okay.
No, instead, what they should do is bring back a thing called capitalism, and they shouldn't have the Bank of England setting the false interest rate at 0.5%, so mortgage rates are 3.5% or 4%. Instead, the market should be allowed to set interest rates.
Okay.
Do you know what that would do? It would bring house prices down, and then everyone could actually buy a house that they want to buy.
Okay, Jonathan Davis, we'll have to leave it there. Thanks very much for joining us. It's 21 minutes to 9.
They're not doctors.